Let me introduce the reason why we're here tonight to launch Penfolds Grange 2004 here at Port of Isles for Peter and the family. And Neil touched on it earlier that we don't actually do a lot of these events, and we launched Grange in on May 1, which is what we do every year. We've done that since for the last 35 years. It's been launched on the same day, May 1. And this is only the third event that I have hosted that's got Grange in it, and 2 of those were overseas. So it's nice to be here in Geelong doing it. Quickly, the story on Grange. It's a great romantic story that we in the wine industry absolutely love. And in a nutshell, it was a winemaker who had an idea, made the wine, got absolutely canned by management about it, and then kept on making it. Matt Schubert got sent overseas to study sherry. Went to Spain and Portugal, studied sherry and port. And on the way back, he flew through a place called Bordeaux in France. He tried their great red wines and thought, I think Australia should make one of these wines. This is in the 1940s, early 1950s. Came back to Australia and in 1951 made a wine that he wanted to be Australia's version of Bordeaux, which still, to be fair, is the most famous wine in the world. Is it the best wine in the world, Bordeaux? Questionable, but certainly the most famous. Came back to Australia, wanted to make Bordeaux. Problem was, Bordeaux's backbone is Cabernet Sauvignon. He came back to Penfolds where he was a winemaker, and their backbone of their wines were always going to be Shiraz because the Cabernet was not up to scratch. So he made a Shiraz in 1951. He called it Grange, because he resurrected that old name. Remember I told you earlier about the homestead and all the wines were called Grange. He made the wine 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. They tasted them, management tasted them, and they said, look, these wines are terrible, they taste like port, they're too harsh, they're too aggressive, what are you doing? Stop making them. He made it in 57, 58 and 59. Then in 1960, they retried those early vintages of the wines, and in particular 1955, which had then won dozens of trophies and lots of gold medals at shows, and management in Sydney, because at the time the management of Penfolds was in Sydney, even though he was based in South Australia, they looked at these wines and said, geez, you're onto something here, you should start making it. He said, you know what, I've been making it every year. And so he pulled out the 57, 58 and 59, and you know what, they're the ones that are actually quite valuable now, because they're the ones he made in secret, he made with barrels that the company didn't know he'd acquired, and he just made it because he always had a vision to make Australia's most famous, most iconic wine. The rest is history, of course. It is now our most iconic wine. You know, it's the most expensive, but that's irrelevant. It's very scarce, that's probably more relevant. It's a wine that there's not a lot of, and I'll put it into perspective. Bordeaux first growth, so wines that come from this very small area in France that was made famous by a queen visiting it. The only reason Bordeaux became Bordeaux was because a queen went there, tried the wines, and said, geez, I really like those wines, and suddenly Bordeaux went from $10 a bottle to thousands of dollars a bottle what it is now. The make size of Bordeaux versus Grange is probably a third of Grange versus some of these Bordeaux wines that are selling for $3,000, $4,000 a bottle. It is 100% Shiraz 5 times in 50 years. The rest of the time it has a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. This one tonight, 2004, has got Cabernet Sauvignon. I think from memory it's 4 or 5%. Why do we add Cabernet Sauvignon? Why can't we? By law we're allowed up to 15% without declaring it. Why do we add it? Because it makes a better wine. Cabernet's got more tannin, more structure, more firmness, adds to the longevity of the wine. How good is the 04? I touched on it earlier. I haven't tried every Grange, unfortunately. But the ones I've tried, 1990 was Wine of the Year in Wine Spectator magazine, which is the biggest wine magazine in the world. We think this wine potentially will be in the running for that again. Jeremy Oliver's given it a 98 out of 100. Campbell Mattison's given it a 98 out of 100. James Halliday refused to score it, which means he would have given it probably a 99 to 100. There hasn't been a wine writer yet that hasn't given it over 97. Very small, mate. Why was 04 so good? One of those years, nice and cool, believe it or not, during the important time, which is sort of December, January, February. And we had the warmth when we were picking, but it wasn't too hot. So we got our grapes right. The analogy I'll give you, if you don't understand wine, When you cook spaghetti bolognese, you can put all the ingredients in the pot and you can turn it on to full boil.
What's this one?
And it'll boil in about 5 minutes. You boil it for 5 minutes and you've got spaghetti bolognese. Or you can cook the ingredients really slowly on medium heat, get it to the boil and then simmer it for 2.5 hours and you've got spaghetti bolognese. Guess which one's the best bolognese? The latter, of course. So that's what we want when we're writing in grapes, and that's what O4 got. Is this bottle of wine worth $600? And let's be fair, tonight we're getting 100 mils, we're getting $100 for the wine in the glass. So if the person next to you doesn't drink wine, I'd be hoovering it down before they look. And to be fair, if you're like next to me, you go to the toilet, I'm going to be hoovering it. I've got it all the way down from Melbourne, I'm not $200 worth, thank you very much. Is it worth $600? The answer I'll give you is I gave you someone actually this morning. If you don't regularly buy $600 bottles of wine, it won't be worth $600 to you. But trust me, from people that drink wines for a living, as I do and others in the room do, I'm sure the public is all here drink good wines. It is worth $600. It's exclusive, it's premium quality, it's going to live to 2040. It's a great wine. Two last things I'll say about this wine. We're not doing it justice tonight, to be fair. We released it 3 weeks ago. It's going to last for 2050. But it has got that softness. But what it's got is that power and that finesse and that fine structure that the Penfolds has got. The second thing I'll say is, enjoy it over 15 or 20 minutes. Don't rush. Simple. I know you've already drunk your serving. You're into pork, so we're giving you away. This wine will open up more with time in the glass. Hope you've enjoyed the wines tonight, and I know you have, because some people have come around. One question that got asked me earlier, and I'll answer it publicly. Is glassware? The question was, does glassware make a difference to wine? Absolutely. If you poured Grange into the water tumbler, it wouldn't taste as good. As a general rule, the finer the glass, i.e. the thinner the glass, the better it is to drink out of. The general rule used to be the bigger the glass, the better. I don't necessarily adhere to that. If you want a good all-round glass, you buy Riedel Chianti glasses, $15 a glass. They are beautiful all-round glasses. We can't all afford Riedel, we can't afford to have them at home, but this glass is pretty good as well. And the glass that the Granges come in is a nice little round size. The trick is to always go for thinner glass. The thicker the glass, the more impact it has on the wine as it goes through. So in closing, what I'd say to you is, Grange is an amazing wine, but it's only good if you can have a laugh with it and you can sit with some decent people. It is just a bottle of wine at the end of the day, but it is a special bottle of wine when you're sitting with people that you like. And that's why I like the wine industry, because we always have a laugh with it, and we enjoy some good wine. So thank you tonight, thank you to Peter. Kitchen, Jamie and the crew at the back have done an amazing job. I hope you'll agree with me, the food's been fantastic. Thank you to the Foster's guys, Trevor and Neil and Con and Peter. Thanks for your attention. I'm going to be over there if you've got any questions. Sue, if you'd like to open the Grange, I'm happy to open the video and make sure thanks again for supporting our venue, and if you are driving home, please be careful. If you're not driving home, there's probably a few glasses that haven't been finished, so Uber away.